To order today, the meeting for the Raleigh Planning Board. Tonight is Wednesday, July 17th, 2019. We have 3 continued public hearings and a new public hearing on the agenda. The first item we have on the agenda this evening is a continued hearing for an OSRD special permit review for Falcon Ridge subdivision at 430 Weathersfield Street. So this is the OSRD out on Weathersfield. The applicant's been proceeding with some engineering. He's asked us for a little more time at this point because we're at a juncture where they've got some approvals that they need, and they just need to go back and rework the plan a little bit. So,
I make a motion to continue this meeting to our next regularly scheduled meeting.
regular meeting, August 14th?
August 14th.
Okay.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
So that's unanimous. Kirk, we got the matters that have been, we've got a request for a continuance. Do we have to keep the time?
We can announce that if somebody's interested in the Verdant project or the 623 Weathersfield, the definitive subdivision plan, those have been continued. Although Raleigh Solar is on the agenda tonight, just for an update on the Raleigh Solar project. This is not but the definitive subdivision is going to be continued.
Right, and I did see Mr. Beatrice in the hall, but I think nonetheless that's still the request. No, what I'm saying is, can we skip ahead to the continuances for Verdant and Weathersfield?
Sure.
Or, well, given that they're both already posted for 8 and 8/10?
Yeah, you just make sure if anybody's here at those times.
Okay, all right, we'll likely still be around.
Maybe check at those times.
So what I'm going to do then is go ahead and call the continued hearing for Verdant, which is on the agenda tonight for 8 p.m. Verdant Medical, 124 Newburyport Turnpike, special permit site plan review, map 14, lot 29, zoning, retail, business light industrial district. Here again, we have a request by the applicant that we move this matter off to the next public hearing, which again I think is going to be August 14th.
I make a motion.
Make a motion that we continue.
Second.
Okay, so on John's motion, David's second. All in favor?
Aye.
So unanimous. And I'm going to move ahead one further. Wow.
Yeah, I told these guys to show up early in case they wanted to. In case we wanted to start stuff.
Well, we can do invoices and expenses without any problem.
Yeah,
Because there's no time on it.
Yeah. The other thing is at the bottom there, about 305 Newburyport Turnpike, the EdSurX medical building.
You said
About setting up time in the next week or the early week after that to do a site visit with Larry. We could do the board, but the board should see it before it releases.
right.
But he's going to do his own visit and review the as-built, which he's doing now. But the board may want to see it before they take action at the August, or the, I was going to say the July 20, I think it's the
July 30th.
July 30th, Tuesday, July 30th, to take action if it's appropriate to issue the certificate of compliance.
Okay, so what are you thinking for that site visit?
Next week sometime? Anybody?
All right, how about Tuesday?
Tuesday's good for what time? Late in the day or early in the day?
Late in the day. Late in the day? Well, you're going to be in my house at some point that day. All right, so
Free coffee that day.
Free coffee day.
you want to say 4?
4 o'clock?
Okay, we didn't make 4? We did that? Okay.
And that's a sheriff's building.
Yeah.
All right.
Larry, you can get too?
I'm gonna try to get Larry there, that, like, he's reviewing the as-built, and, he may have to do his own separate site visit. He'll issue a report.
Yeah.
Before we get there.
So is it Tuesday the 30th? Probably no, Tuesday the
Third.
23rd.
23rd at 4 p.m. And that's for 305 to Great Turnpike.
Yep.
Good. Well, all right, so we can move on to the next item. How about, you got the invoice expenses?
Yeah, actually, sign time sheet for this week, and then, there was in your packet, there was a 7 minutes I sent out. I know Troy let me know about a correction. But I actually added, there was a short meeting on the 20th. The first one is the 15th of this year, of May 15th this year, and then May 28th was the shorter one, and they said it was only like an hour, so I sent that, or attached that to the packet. That's that is the,
I don't see it.
So,
May
Oh, yeah.
15th, I obviously was absent.
so it sounds like David wasn't present. The rest of the board's taking a look at him. You did have a comment, Troy? You already brought it
Yeah,
there?
I think you're extremely good.
Okay.
I did the change.
You are correct. Minutes,
What was the date on that, those minutes?
15,
Yeah, May 15th.
Okay, so I'm going to move that we approve the May 15th meeting with the correction noted.
Second.
All in favor? All right.
You pay every week about it.
Mark, you got more? Pass them down.
And they're just,
I do that every week.
That's in the usual.
May 15th, fresh and May 28th. The one I got approved.
Table was last night.
You're supposed to have your dollar.
That's the Grinch. Thank you.
Some person illegal.
Maybe.
I don't do it.
Maybe that is somebody.
Yeah. They want to check something. What pencil?
That's
Pencil.
what they need. They need.
Guys gave me a check of pencil.
Any other expenses?
Nope, that's it right now.
Okay.
You get more than hands.
Bill Lucas.
Yes.
And then, I guess it's coming on,
You get the May 28th one?
yeah, we want to look at the May 28th.
I have no problem.
Oh, okay.
It's a pretty short.
You were. It's just Chris Cleveland and John.
That was a short meeting, too, not a whole lot got done with it. Yeah.
We set a record.
I'm okay with that one, too.
I make a motion
I
to
wasn't
accept,
there.
motion that we accept the meeting notes for May 20th.
Second?
Second.
So David's motion, John's second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, so the minutes are approved.
We're at 7:45.
Okay, good.
Public here.
Still got,
Couple minutes.
still got a couple of minutes.
Want to have all this?
Well, if we,
There's no time on
that's gonna maybe take, I
I
guess we can, yeah, probably will, but we could probably, if you want, we maybe could start talking.
We have 5
about
minutes.
Valley Solar, and then when we come to the public hearing and deal with that and then come back to it? Or would you guys rather wait?
We continue this on.
We're only just trying to dance around a couple of minutes because we have a matter scheduled for 7:45, which
We
we're
have
going
4
to
minutes, right? We have 4 minutes.
Let's just stick to
He's
these.
got to wait us to. Make sure you're ready for us?
You know what?
No, we'll go one more second.
We actually was trying to.
I understand what you're saying.
No, I'm sorry, that's fine.
I'm not trying to.
That's quite all right. No, we weren't clear. We're just trying to manage our agenda here without violating the open meeting rules by.
Are we continuing this one as well?
Well, you know, the parties are here, so I figure
Okay.
we're gonna, the matter that we're gonna continue at 8:10, we're gonna continue it now, we must wait till 8:10.
Definitive subdivision.
Yeah.
Or that was complete before.
This is why I put things on a 10-minute interval, just in case this happens. One time I didn't do that.
He doesn't hang out with
I'm supposed to be a few minutes. Figure everybody's all set up.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah.
Do it real slow.
We have 2 minutes. Or not. I just.
Yeah, we do just need a few more minutes, and in fact, the first matter we're going to call in 3 minutes is not pertaining to it's the McDonald's site,
Okay.
okay?
Yeah, we have a public hearing, it's at 7:05.
There's no imagination. There's no, you know,
Who can you, what do you sell? Sell trucks.
There's not like the whole look at that house.
It's the winter. It's got, it's winter. Storm, so. Both these are next to the AD architectural design. I'm gonna put Pantheon columns on.
That's what you should, that should be required.
So, Kirk, we're having that pardon me, are we having a meeting this month?
Yeah, 30.
The 30th, okay. What's on for the 30th?
Well, for the 30th, we're going to be looking at, there's the Raleigh Country Club, residents at Raleigh Country
Oh,
Club.
that's right, yeah.
Although they haven't actually submitted something yet, but I was telling them if you get it to me at a certain time, we can, but it was starting to look like it's going to be more like August 14th for that.
So, could be a pretty,
If we don't have
Country
it, we
Club
can
will
probably,
be fairly fast.
yeah, I mean, if you want, we can wait to see if anything comes in and
Keep it on the agenda.
all right, so I think we're, well, okay, so I'm going to read the public notice. In accordance with the Massachusetts General Laws, Chapter 40A, and pursuant to the Raleigh Protective Zone Bylaw and the Raleigh Planning Board Rules and Regulations, the Raleigh Planning Board will conduct a public hearing on Wednesday, July 17th of 2019 at 7:45 in the large meeting room in the Raleigh Public Library located at 141 Main Street, Raleigh, pertaining to a special permit application for the outdoor illumination of a sign pursuant to section 8.6 outdoor illumination standards, 7.6 site plan review, and 7.8 special permit of the Raleigh Protected Zoning Bylaw. The subject property is located at 159 Newburyport Turnpike and is further identified as Assessor's Map 14, Lot 14, which consists of approximately 8.2 acres and is located in the retail zoning district. The special permit site plan review application is being submitted by Bowler Engineering on behalf of McDonald's USA LLC, pertaining to the installation of a new illuminated sign at that location. The application plans and the relevant documents are on file with the Raleigh Planning Board. and they're all available for public inspection at the Raleigh Planning Board office, Town Hall Annex, 39 Central Street, during public office hours. So I'm going to open the meeting. Who do you have for the applicant?
I was just going to explain to this how this came to the planning board. Mr. Lucas, he's representing McDonald's for this renovation, and they're actually renovating the entire look of all the McDonald's around. This is like MBS, this is Odessa. They've changed made insignificant, insubstantial changes to the layout, and then they're updating the signage, but it's really all existing signage. The exterior is being updated. We had Larry look at this, and he said that there's nothing really substantial to that. But in this one case, Ken was looking at it and was pointing out that there's an issue with the electric signboard. And it's not necessarily that it is the same thing as an illuminated sign, but we thought that for the sake of being keeping it clean, making sure that we do the right thing, they would go through the special permit process under the illuminated sign bylaw. But I was pointing out, as I said in my email to the board, that there is a provision that prohibits animated motion signs in the bylaw. But I was pointing out that Ken was like of this mind as well, but he wanted to let the board make a decision, because he's okay with approving it if the board, as long as the board is okay as interpreting this not necessarily as a sign or as an illuminated sign, but as a it's what they call as an electronic menu board. And you have pictures of it in your packet there, so it really looks just like a regular menu board.
Well, are we trying to distinguish this from being an illuminated sign, or just trying to deal with the animated aspect of it? I don't think I wouldn't consider it an animated sign, because once it's updated, it's static, right? Well, although it cycles through, but it doesn't.
Well, it's not out front on the road.
Yeah, that's what I was.
It's like behind. It isn't like at the bank where you would be looking at it.
It's not. It could be more viewed as in the same way that directional signs are viewed, in order to serve a function of getting around. In this case, making an order. It shows the location. You can point that out for the audience. That it isn't in back there, so it's not visible in the way that a wall sign or a monument sign would be, which is designed to be. And that's what the illuminated sign bylaw is really for, I think. And I think we should draw a distinction in this case, because when you look at it, it's not the same. It looks exactly like a menu board would look, except that it's electronic and allows them to update electronically. So that's the purpose of it.
Gotcha.
But we would just go through the right process.
Okay, just want to make sure we didn't think that it was a sign. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And aside from that menu board, there's no illuminated sign that we're otherwise reviewing, right? There's nothing.
Well, the illuminated sign, the McDonald's is already illuminated.
It's already-
So
that's
they're
already
updating what's already there, so that doesn't really require.
Okay, so that's not changing, you're not changing it.
So, Bill Lucas with Bowler Engineering, I am listed as the applicant, just to give everybody some background on what's going on. 155 Newburyport Turnpike, which is at the bottom of your page. Driveway here that probably everyone enters and exits through. This is the front of the McDonald's itself, right? Front here, facing Newburyport Turnpike. Circulation unchanged through the development. It's part of McDonald's rebranding program throughout the whole country, that they're trying to get a uniform look on all of their restaurants because of the fact that they've been building them for 50, 60, 70 years and they all look different. So they want to get uniform branding. As part of that, they are trying to upgrade their drive-through pieces, and in this case, we're going to look at those two menu boards that they're going to be proposing as part of this. They're going to go almost in the exact location that the menu boards are now. They are at the rear of the building, and they face away from the corner or from the streets that are out there, so they're directed back towards the back of the site towards the dumpster that you referred to as before. So from that standpoint, there should be nothing distracting the public or shining lights out onto the road or to any of the residences for that matter. With that said, there's 2 boards that they are introducing. It is the typical menu board, which is 20 square foot. And then both of these are just like LED TVs. So think of the screen behind you in some manner, almost like the size of a door frame that you would pull up to and read that menu board. And they also have what they refer to as a pre-browse board. That's essentially like a little advertising piece for the car that is just behind where that menu board is. So you have an opportunity for McDonald's to say, hey, try this or try that. And then as you approach, then you'd be able to get to that menu board. I believe you made a question about, does it change? It does, but with respect to your order. So you will have the full menu board in front of you. You'll call in your order, and once your order is placed, then the left part of the screen changes to show you all of your itemized purchases and sums it up and gives you a dollar amount at the bottom, and then you proceed from there. So in terms of it changing, it does not. I mean, really, from that standpoint, they need it to be static so you can read everything and see what's going on. I do have some color photos if you want to see a piece of that.
Is the upgrade similar to West Beverly?
Most likely, yes. We're doing it for all the restaurants. Our company in particular.
Everybody's got a picture of it.
Yeah, I mean,
He's actually got color.
yeah, I'll give you some color versions.
So you guys can't pay with your iPhone yet, right there?
Not yet. Maybe that's soon, but I bet you they can change or update the board that way through some app. Absolutely. Yeah, they only have 2 or 3 colors that they use, and it's very neutral colors, correct.
We have a new kiosk inside.
And the advertising board that comes first, they don't currently have.
They do not have that, that's correct, so that would be new. But I think you get a feel for how one sits and then the menu board sits behind that. And I do have.
The M&M.
That's right.
This is another version where you can kind of see the staggered view of both of those as you approach.
And these menus get turned off at the end of business operation, right?
That's correct.
All right. Nothing's changing, traffic flow is the same, no new parking, no...
Well, obviously, McDonald's would love to get some more customers in there, but
Yeah.
from our standpoint, that's not the,
Yeah.
we don't anticipate anything. The square footage hasn't changed on the building. We're not changing any of the utilities. There's no upgrades in terms of water demand or sewer service. So, same square footage, they can permit it the same exact way.
Now I understand why you're doing it, to get a uniform picture all over the country. Probably.
Sure, that's exactly it. They're actually not even on the building that exists now. It says McDonald's across the front. They're changing that to just actually be the M logo. So it's a smaller logo. And they're not even saying McDonald's. They're just going to like a true brand, like you see with Target. You understand the red Target symbol, and you go in there. They want to do the same thing.
It's a good design.
It's very clean. They did a lot of research on it, and they try to put it all together because they know they have so many disjointed looks on all of their restaurants.
So this is being a special permit. If the board wants, you can put conditions that if you want to make sure that it is turned off at the end.
I mean, that would be the only, given that this is such a slight deviation from what you're currently doing, the only thing I see you're changing from what you currently have is that this light is more illuminated. This menu board is now fully illuminated. I think it's what's already there is probably already light up to some.
Yeah, but that's probably, I bet you the lights that they use now are worse. Think of this as a dark TV screen. I mean, that's really it. It's probably a white light on that white paper.
I know the sunlight don't need it.
Again, so my only thought would be to limit it to those hours of business operation, but I'm sure that wouldn't be an issue. I don't think that one seems unnecessary to go there, because I can't imagine anything sun only.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it would be showering from a machine at 2 in the morning. I want my hamburger. No.
You changing the outside of the building at all or anything?
It is.
Yeah.
really changed.
Yeah, they're changing the
Take down
thing.
the
It's a very modern look.
Is it a tear, or are you just gonna rehab it?
It's, we're not tearing it down, so they'll just rehab the outside of it. And,
Are there any close
I have a
by,
black and white.
are there any McDonald's close by that they could go by and look, or?
North Beverly.
Which one?
Yeah.
North Beverly.
North Beverly.
I think it's, yeah.
I think it's Salem. I don't know, it's the same.
Yeah, it's a deal.
Is there, I mean, I don't even see a reason to, you know, there's no reason to do a site visit.
I don't know.
No, and I think we've all seen it.
The only thing that would be nice is, I really don't know if there's anything to do with that, but, and I don't think that back road is theirs, but there's always so much McDonald's trash on the side of that. Could they ever just, I know it ain't their road, but it's like, maybe they could pick it up once a month or something. I don't know.
Yeah,
That's not a public way.
It's just always something.
Every day is a reason.
Well, that's neither here nor there, that's not part of what we're doing.
I know.
Is there anyone here from town that has any comments on what we're looking at right now? I recognize the faces and didn't think it's a McDonald's crowd. No,
I'll make a motion.
what's that motion?
I'll make a motion to grant a special permit with the,
We're gonna close first.
what? Okay, close the public hearing. I
Yeah.
make a motion to close the public hearing.
So,
So, David, John, motion and second, all in favor? So the meeting's closed.
I make a motion that we grant the special permit with the comment that the menu board gets turned off when it is not business hours.
second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. We'll write something up. Kirk will run it by you. You have to take a look at it. Any comments, let us know. If not, we'll sign it and issue it, okay?
I appreciate it, thank you. Have a good evening.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Okay. So, we'll see the clock.
So, I think we're going to. I just, you know what, I'm gonna, we've already, there was an item on for 8 o'clock for Verdant Medical. We already took a vote to continue it at the request of the applicant. It's just about 8 o'clock now. I just want to let anyone know that might be here for that purpose, that, again, we have taken an action on that already. Okay? So, well, we do have a continued hearing for some aspect of this property. Let's just move into this discussion regarding Raleigh Solar, if we could, all right? The last time this matter was here before the board for an official action, Invalon had come in and asked us for a conditional approval to allow them to begin testing, and we did grant that conditional approval with some restrictions and limitations.
Pretty much to
Chairman,
To this date, yeah.
in terms of the agenda, isn't the subdivision on at 7:55
No, the subdivision's on at 8:10. Okay. So for that reason, we're gonna, you know, when we, at 8:10, we can either just push it or we can just quickly jump over to it. So, okay, where we were was, we set some conditions about what was supposed to happen between then and now. And at the time, we all thought the big limiting factor was going to be weather. Turns out we hadn't foreseen other issues. But where are we at?
So, from the value perspective first, let me just say that I think you understood a little bit there was a dispute going on.
Yeah.
Valiant had paid substantial amount of money in December, told the LLC they conducted the project and made Valiant's position. Then they built this in good faith, that's in Valiant's position. At the end, some dispute arose, and Valiant eventually filed a lawsuit against, to try to resolve that. And several weeks ago, in Valiant understood that a good faith settlement and documents were signed by both parties. Okay, so until 3:30 p.m., and based on the executed documents in that lawsuit, is the settlement documents. I said we Valiant reasonably believed that it owned that LLC and was speaking exclusively for Raleigh Solar LLC that did that. And we've done that in the past. That's why I appeared last time. Since I appeared last time, I promised to come this time to report to you. So based on the settlement agreement, we were prepared to present a construction schedule and a plan to meet your concerns. And that's what we understood we would be doing today, and we've also talked with the light plant over time to meet their obligations. Further, based on the same settlement, we understood that the only thing left to do to finish the settlement was to meet and just exchange some papers which were already signed and some other things that needed to be signed and exchange some check. It's sort of not relevant to it. Well, at 3:30 p.m. today, I received a report that somehow an entity that the landowner somehow is claiming to still be Raleigh Solar LLC and filed bankruptcy in that name. 3:30 p.m. So based on that, I don't feel I can go forward and talk any further about this until we consult a bankruptcy attorney. Okay, let me just finish if I don't want to.
Sure, no, I appreciate your time and your position.
We intend to hire the servant, no, we have not, the legality intends to engage service bankruptcy attorney to oppose the filing in the next days. One of the issues under the circumstances is whether, and under the settlement agreement, who gets the right to speak for Invaluable at this point, which we had been moving in good faith that Invaluable was the person that had to, that essentially owned Invaluable, just when we showed up last time. So in a bankruptcy filing, one of the other attorneys now claims to represent Raleigh Solar LLC. Well, clearly, Invaluable intends to look at that and investigate that as to who should even be speaking on behalf of the project now. So maybe none of us should. And maybe we should continue this. I think there's some other issues that need to be looked at, which is whether, I mean, I don't know about that, whether under the circumstances of the settlement, there were grounds for the bankruptcy to be filed by them. I don't know that one way or another. Some bankruptcy, they believe there was some. Not to defer to them. That's perfect. And Invaluable certainly needs time, since they found out at 3:30 this afternoon, to engage an attorney to look at this. It's too short a time for us to have a position on this and report to you.
Is this schedule that you provided, is this what?
Well, I just don't think that I can speak about it under the circumstances because I don't know what the automatic stay does to that schedule.
You know,
And
so I'll talk to the other parties here, but I don't think the bankruptcy has a great deal of impact on us. We're not creditors. We're not, so we could make a decision independent of that.
I can't.
That being said, I understand your position.
I don't want to take a position on that
Yeah.
in case they would then take a position that somehow we're violating the automatic stay.
Right.
What we'd be asking, under that circumstance, find out at 3:30 p.m. this afternoon. It's just too short a time
Right.
for us to come here and be in a position to respond to that. So, under the circumstances, we can't give you an estimate on what we, on the time to litigate this. We can't give you an estimate on the outcome of this. And, we just can't take a position on this. We don't choose to violate the automatic stay one way or another.
Mm-hmm.
Certainly very short notice when we had understood until this time. This was all done. That, one meeting would be necessary to exchange some things, and then I'd be here talking to you about the negotiations that what we were going to do on behalf of the project for the town and for the light plants. So under the circumstances, really, we need time to find out what my rights and responsibilities, what the value rights and responsibilities are, what the scope of what we could speak for or not speak for. And I could probably do the same thing on the other side.
Well, I have an idea what I'd like to propose, but I think we ought to hear from everybody else first.
Thank you. Tom Petras for Raleigh Solar LLC, and the Development Trust, and there with Attorney Alan Bronstein, who's been retained by Raleigh Solar LLC in the bankruptcy filing. As we stand here tonight, it is undisputable that Barbara Bergowitz and Bonnie Bergowitz own 100% interest in Raleigh Solar LLC as we stand here today. There's certainly a challenge to that that was spurred by Essex County Superior Court filing by Invaluable, which is affected by the recent Chapter 11 filing by Mr. Bronstein. But ultimately, and I think in short order, the judge will decide from the outset of the case who has a right to go forward. But I don't want to lose sight of the goal, and I think Attorney Sales and I share the same goal on behalf of our clients, is to get the project finished in a workmanlike manner. And there's a substantial amount of work that needs to be done to complete the project. Part of the problem is, and I don't know if any of the board members have had a chance to go out and inspect the site, part of the problem is the condition of the site, which spurred some rather vigorous negotiations because of how the construction was handled from our point of view in an extremely negligent manner. And that was one of the things that started these parties on a path to butt heads, so to speak. So our goal is to finish the project with Raleigh Solar ourselves. We have funding in place, we have a contractor money done, we're ready to take off and do it. But unfortunately, because of the court matters, a judge is going to make a decision on which way that will go. Attorney Bronson can certainly address the issues with respect to the bankruptcy and how it may affect this proceeding or
well, in all actuality, the judge isn't going to make any determination with respect to who controls or what the stock is. By the way, Malin Bronstein, I'm an attorney from Boston, Greenwood Bronstein. I've been in bankruptcy for close to 40 years, and I've appeared before many boards, and I'm glad that I'm here today so I can put things in perspective for the board. What you have here are essentially fights between individuals as to, or entities as to ownership. But Raleigh Solar is the one that holds the contract, that has the obligation, that has the fiduciary obligation not only to the town, but to Raleigh Municipal Life to fulfill the obligations and the conditions under the contract. But it also has a fiduciary obligation to itself as a corporation and to creditors. There are creditors in the corporation. What the bankruptcy does is enable that process to go forward without the chaos and without the noise and without the delay. So the bankruptcy judge is not going to determine who owns what. The bankruptcy judge is going to determine what's the best interest of Raleigh Solar and its creditor constituents. What we viewed when we looked at the documents is that time was of the essence. And you're not going to get, with these disputes going on in the state court, for which the defendants are really between essentially who owns it, is irrespective of the rights of the entity that's here before you that has earned your trust in gaining a contract that we now intend to fulfill. So when we lined up the parties to go forward in a bankruptcy, we don't just throw it in a bankruptcy haphazardly. We look at the end, and then we see the end and move toward that goal. So before we filed the bankruptcy, and again, this was very quickly done, but we shored up debtor in possession financing. What it means is that we now have a signed agreement that we will file with the court that advances $610,000 to the estate, for which all the monies that are owed under the contract will be promptly paid to Raleigh Solar, the Raleigh Municipal Light. $105,000 is allocated to pay for the bond. There's also a company, I believe it's Kendall Construction, that is going to come in and take care of all the problems associated with the landscape. I'd say the cleanup, but I don't want to infer that there's any sort of waste there. Just cleaning up the project, cleaning up the site so it looks nice, and also all of the maintenance and other conditions.
Do you want to have this dispute here? Because we don't agree with that.
This is not.
I don't agree with this.
I'm not.
Look, we're not in court, and I do think, though, that I want to try to, for the purpose of...
We don't agree with this.
I understand the authority,
and
and I'm not even sure it's relevant to what we're trying to accomplish. But that being said, I appreciate your time and what you're trying to...
Our position is they're misleading.
I'm not misleading.
They're putting one
I
side
am saying
in
what a
and the other.
bankruptcy fiduciary. I am now fiduciary
We don't agree with
for
this.
creditors.
We don't even agree necessarily. We had the
That's-
rest of
But I understand, as I understand the dispute, Raleigh LLC is in bankruptcy court. You're just arguing about who controls Raleigh LLC.
No, that's not true. They think they can put it into bankruptcy court, despite the fact that Endalian and what they believe they own that, Endalian believes they owned it, and they had a decision, and they were prepared to pay all of this. Which they're not prepared to pay.
Who paid for the panels? I mean, who paid for the panels? Did you guys? Did they pay for the panels?
Endalian has Endalian owns all the debt for the construction.
All I'm saying is, Raleigh sold
All right, one at a time, sorry. Mr. Bronstein, sir, first I'm going to let the planner take the floor for a second.
We object to this.
Okay, noted.
We're not
not trying to adjudicate.
Right.
And that's what's gonna happen if we listen to this.
Okay, but
Then we're not trying to the other
This
side.
has no place here.
That's
This has nothing to do with it.
So your update is we don't have a construction schedule, is basically what
We are,
you're-
Raleigh
We're trying
Solar
to-
is.
we're trying to get it out.
Sir, I don't mean to
No,
chase you
my
out here.
point is, I actually agree with you guys, this doesn't belong in here, which is my point, because we don't agree
Can
with
I just,
their...
Vicky, first is, I don't run this board, I try to
Yeah.
organize what we're doing here, but from what I'm taking in here, I think perhaps one of the most appropriate courses of action we could take would be to, well, exactly, to first take a vote to give them an additional 30 days on our conditional approval from
Yeah.
July 17th to at least our next meeting,
August 14th.
August 14th. And with that said, both of you, the interest of Raleigh Solar is preserved.
And just for this, I mean, to find out at 3:30, they suddenly decided.
I can imagine what we're going through.
Because there's absolutely zero time to bring someone else in his position to explain the bankruptcy circumstance,
Which
who's
you
been
didn't know,
engaged.
you didn't know about until 3:30.
3:30, maybe after, it might have been 4. I mean, it's between 3:30 and 4. It's
One
crazy.
member of the public would like to speak.
Richard Burns, 620 Weathersfield Street, right across the street. And it's an eyesore. That's terrible. And I don't understand why this keeps going on and on. You're gonna give them another 30 days. People go up there and you look at it and see the culvert that's all smashed up. You have a pool down the end there that's supposed to have water in it. It's just one big mess. And right now, when I came in here, I'm watching the driveway start to wash away. What is going to happen? Another 30 days, 30 days?
So, listen to me, I agree with you. I go out there every day, I mean, I've seen, and yet I also am aware that there's some turmoil out there. I've gone by in the morning and there seems to be guys facing off in the driveway, not knowing what they're doing, okay? So progress does need to be made, but I don't want to stand in the way and prevent either of these parties from having at least a business plan underneath them from which that they can run.
Mr. Chairman?
Yeah.
The landowner, neighbors, who's the applicant, the co-applicant, as well as Raleigh Solar, share the neighbors' concerns. And that was one of the reasons these parties started to butt heads. We want to rectify it.
Let me just, purposes of both parties, I think 30 days, it's good because what they have to do regardless is come to the bankruptcy court. Bankruptcy court is a court of equity. That judge will sort out for you, for everyone, what that is.
Mm-hmm.
What he has to do is move fast. We have to move fast because it's going to be the bankruptcy court to determine really who's going to control, because the company's going to still stay in bankruptcy because it owes debt and it has obligations. The bankruptcy court accelerates that process. And whatever happens, we will be back in 30 days, whether they intervene or not, or they get what's called relief from automatic stay or not. But the bankruptcy court knows that it has an asset and knows that that asset benefits a bunch of parties, including the town. What we're trying to do is what bankruptcy courts always do, which is take the chaos and consume it and get all the parties together to resolve it. That's our intention, and we have the obligation, because we have to act for fast in order to get the court approval. And the town is on the notice list, the Raleigh Light and Solar is on the notice list. They'll get all this notice in short order of what our intentions are, and they're required to serve you as well, so you'll be able to see that, and there will be much progress in the 90 days. Why? Because bankruptcy courts don't let cases sit. So, again, we disagree, but that's okay. Bankruptcy courts hear disagreements, resolve disagreements, but they do so in a rapid time. Unlike the state court, bankruptcy courts give you 14 days to essentially respond. So really, in 14 days, but certainly within 30 days, we'll be back here and you will have answers. And regardless, those answers will be that whoever controls this has the fiduciary obligation to perform under that agreement, to pay you under that agreement, to clean up the site. So to me, it doesn't matter. I don't represent either of them. I represent the company that has a fiduciary obligation. So I can tell you that both parties have the same agenda. Who controls it? That's not my hunt. My hunt is to tell you and assure you that it will be done.
I only say that he was engaged by the landowner, and that perhaps somebody else the Valiant had the right to engage someone to represent that entity. I don't know yet. That's an issue to be worked out by the courts. Who would have the best right to represent
Again,
that
a
LLC?
bankruptcy court requires complete disinterestedness. I filed an affidavit with the court, and will be filing one that says I have no relation, no representation with the individuals. I
This
have
is
no
just-
relation with the
You can
trust.
see where this is going. At 4 o'clock today, I can't bring you someone in here to say anything about whether he's right or wrong. I had no time.
But you have 30 days to do
Can I
that.
speak for 2 seconds?
No.
Just as a,
And we were also prepared
You know what, I'm
to
gonna
wrap up
wrap up.
all the
Wait,
issues they said. We understood all this was resolved. We had a plan to beautify the site, a plan to do everything. Subcontractors ready to be deployed, money ready to be paid. And at 4 o'clock today, the supposed agreement that everybody had in place to take care of this, at 4 o'clock today we found out that essentially they're trying to get out of this agreement through a bankruptcy filing. It was signed.
And I can understand your frustration with all
Well,
this.
it's-
Just because you asked for the floor, go ahead.
I just want to explain how this whole project has stepped through to where we are today. So, in the beginning, Bonnie Berkowitz obviously has tried to permit this project and was close to getting it through, and then I worked with Bonnie Berkowitz to help her get it over the finish line and help find a buyer. And we talked to many buyers, and Valiant Solar was the best buyer by far over any other buyer that was brought to the table. So Bonnie had the exact deal that she was looking for in this process, so we signed a contract. Bonnie signed a contract with Valiant Solar to sell Raleigh Solar LLC. At that point, things went bad. Closing precedents that were supposed to be provided in the contract were not turned over, and that's where this whole lawsuit started from. Now we're at this point where, again, we've met her demands. We've tried to close on this. She's been made whole and never has taken anything on this project, and we've been literally sitting here trying to get this project over the finish line, meeting her demands, and at this point, one more time, the finish line is moved. Now it's bankruptcy court. I just want to explain this, that we have been above and beyond trying to get this project over the finish line. We've agreed to everything she's asked for, and we just need to finish the project and get it done. But yet again, there's another milestone. I just wanted to say that. I don't know.
And you know, it's really fascinating to hear all of them, but
Yeah.
that is, and I appreciate why you want to say it. It doesn't have any relevance
I
here.
understand.
You know, that sounds like your state court piece. You know, you got bankruptcy parts of this. From our perspective, we're just trying to give you the latitude to move forward with the project once you get your people together.
Thank you very much.
So can I,
Make a motion to continue it to our next regular meeting.
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
And good luck with it. I mean, obviously, you know, there needs to be some cooperation in meeting the minds of the parties, and maybe the parties are divorcing, who knows? But one way or another, I hope you resolve it, because the town is counting on it, a lot of work went into it, and, you know, I would certainly like to see everybody
I
get
think
involved
that's what
with the
both parties
process.
are saying. Town will be.
We appreciate your consideration. We really apologize. This is why I'm up in front of you in this way.
No,
On behalf of Valiant, they did what they could do to.
and we appreciate it, I just don't think there's anything we can do differently.
We would appreciate it, I'm leaving them not being.
I understand, I understand.
Something where I can say and help.
You might want that.
So, is it okay for me?
Yeah, please, and our meeting's wrapping up, we're done.
Oh, let's go that way. Yeah, we appreciate, we understand you guys are in a very difficult circumstance. We apologize that you're in that circumstance. We appreciate how much discretion and sort of patience you've had. So in leaving that, I want to look like we're moving in any way different from that.
Thank you. All right, so I think we've otherwise, we have our 8:10
Yeah.
item. All right, so
Excuse me, can we set a date?
the 14th of August, okay?
Thank you.
Thank you. So, we have a continued public hearing for 623 Weathersfield Street, definitive subdivision plan, 4-lot conventional subdivision zone outline district. And in this case, the applicant has asked for a continuance. So I'm gonna make a motion that we do just that to the August 14th meeting.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
I'm gonna also make a motion that we adjourn.
Thank you.
I didn't work, I know, I'm always still talking about this, let's just get it done.
Yeah.